Welcome to another Cup of Joe. I'm your host, Joe Tumalo,
Hey guys.
CEO of Major Play Game. Wait a minute, Matt. I know you're excited. I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Had to show I had a cup of Joe. Too much Joe.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe you had 10 Cup of Joes before this. But thank you, Matt Hugg. Welcome back. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Joe. Thank you very much.
Longtime friend and super smart guy. Been in fundraising space a long time.
You only say that, Joe.
Look at him.
You know, okay. What do you want next?
So lots of topics. Most people know I dabble in plan giving, and I'm on my 11th year, and a fair amount of my work is training gift officers, major gift officers, annual fund gift officers. Mm-hmm. And one of my frustrations is that, and I'm developing a new presentation called Stop Obsessing on the Gift Vehicles.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
And I tell people up front, I am so far from a tax expert, an accounting, a finance person. That is so not me.
I believe everybody believe that's true.
Right. And Matt, you teach fundraising at college level.
Yeah.
We were talking about how you address that.
Yeah.
Reality that so many people get so stopped by it, and they just don't. They're afraid to bring it up.
You know, it's funny. It's odd to me. I don't know. Maybe it shouldn't be, but how, like you say, people get obsessed by the tools. And you know what? I think there's kind of a bit of an industry built around teaching the tools and it makes people feel good. That, gee, I know all the tools, and it feels like it gives them confidence, and that's fine if that but at some point, you gotta get connected with people. And really, my approach is to say, okay, here's everything. I'll teach you how a gift annuity works. I'll teach you about a lead trust if you want, or insurance or whatever. And you need to know the basics of just kind of how some of the mechanics are. But that's it. After that point, your role is to build relationships. And for the most part, the people I talk to, that's what they're really good at. That's what they were hired for, to build relationships. Personally, I think a lot of people are afraid to bring up the D word, death, right? And to talk about what happens to somebody. I've known people who are really, that's just not their thing. But you talk about legacy and all that, but you talk about that relationship you have with them, and then, phone a friend, right? Call an expert. It's relatively cheap. And they can, and now you look like, oh, I'm bringing in that expert who can work with us to make this happen. And it gives the donor some confidence that there's somebody in the room who has a good idea of how to make this work for them.
And to clarify, the percentage of the times that you would actually need to do that,
no,
in the grand scheme of is 5%, 10%?
Yeah, I mean, when you get into the more anything, I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about designations, right, from an account. We're talking about maybe some form of insurance. We're talking about a bequest, right? Those basic things, you're not going to need to phone a friend on. But when you get to the next level, maybe, the gift annuity thing isn't your thing, although that should be pretty basic for you too. But after that, sure. Make a phone call. Like you said, it's not going to be that many people. And you always have that person in your pocket to do that. Even if you don't use them, you can offer it.
Yeah, thank you. When I say don't obsess on the gift vehicles, to your point, learn them. But it's memorization, right? It's like, I put them into 4 buckets, and bucket number 1 are beneficiary gifts, which are the vast majority. And you could say to yourself, okay, you know what? For the first 30 days, I'm going to memorize everything I need to know in bucket number 1. And then the next 30 days, it's just like, if you really are that obsessed on the gift vehicles, fine, do something about it and memorize it. And then just start. It's like like a foreign language. You're really going to internalize it when you start going out and speaking it, right?
Okay, so interesting you bring that up, because I am a lousy memorizer. However, I think of it as, like you say, internalizing it, learning the process. My brain thinks in processes, and learning that process as opposed to kind of doing the multiplication tables kind of thing. where you just have it memorized. Eventually, yeah, it comes through and it looks like memorization, but for me, it's understanding a process so that at the end, I kind of get it. And like you said, and one of the big secrets about teaching is when you have to teach something, you have to learn it. And so it makes you better to do whatever you're doing. So maybe some of these people can, teach it to a junior colleague or something, make it work for them.
Yeah, I'm a musician, my hobby, and I use a lot of musician references. Hopefully non-musicians get it. But like I'm studying jazz, bass guitar for jazz. Can be very complex.
Yeah.
But it's challenging. And when you just look at it on paper and the notes and the theory, it's like, oh my gosh.
Right.
But the good teachers tell us just start playing and start with the basics. And the more you start playing with the basic and playing with other musicians, interacting with other people, eventually it's going to just internalize.
Well, and that's
so intimidated.
It's that supportive group too, because everybody's a newbie at some point for anything. And because you don't know how to backflip a Q-tip trust, which by the way is not a thing, then that's okay, because chances are 10 other people in that room don't know either. so don't worry about it. Relax, right? And feel free to talk about the backflip Q-tip trust. You'll look impressive, and then they'll say, "Oh gosh, they really know that."
They'll say, "You know what? I'll just put you in my will."
That's it, right?
Much easier.
Exactly, much easier.
Keep it simple. Awesome. Yeah. And as we wrap up here, you are involved in a project kind of related to training.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it is related.
My website is nonprofit.courses. .courses is a new top-level domain, well, new for a few years now. And think of it as the super playlist for all things nonprofits. Things that are nonprofit focused, like volunteer management, like fundraising, and then things that are nonprofit helpful, like HR and accounting and things that a lot of other places do use as well. But then I got this cool little thing I just brought in, I call Record Your Success, which is where you actually, when you're watching all the videos, right, and you say, oh man, I like, okay, Plan Giving. Let's say you've gone to your trainings, Joe, and you've seen a couple of videos on Plan Giving. And instead of putting it on a spreadsheet, this is a cloud-based program where you're able to record it and then set up kind of a learning plan and some goals for yourself so that you can kind of pull yourself through your own self-made program. It's really cool. So
and how would people how would people get more information?
Just go on nonprofit.courses and you'll find it there.
Terrific. Matt Hugg, thank you as always for adding value to the programming.
Hey, glad to help. Thanks, Joe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye now.